Mizzou fans, welcome back in day number 5 here of our Border War Week special episodes. We talked to Dave Matter about covering that game. Had Lorenzo Williams, Tony Temple, Denario Alexander on the show. And, a lot of Missouri fans have heard from those guys some in previous years, recently. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to make sure we heard from somebody that I don't think you guys have heard from in a while, because I know I haven't heard from him in a while. So what we're doing is we are going to a guy that played a huge role in that game, and a guy that, again, I think Missouri fans, you'll enjoy catching up with. Stryker Sulak joining us, former defensive end at Mizzou. Stryker, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I'm excited about this week. I'll tell you that it's been fun. We even my wife went to A&M, and so she doesn't really
Okay.
understand the rivalry between us and Kansas. But I kind of compare it to A&M in Texas.
Right.
It's that big, and I go, it is crazy. It is a different level.
And kind of the same deal, like both those rivalries went away for a while, right? Because one school got their feelings hurt, and the other one went to a different conference. Now both of them are playing again. So before we get into talking about that, man, I know we got a lot of Mizzou fans that are going to watch this. Would just kind of love to know what you're doing, where you're at, and how life's been for the last few years.
Yeah, it's been great. I right after graduation, I moved back to Texas. I'm originally from Rockdale, which is a town of about 5,000 people now. Nothing's really there anymore. We used to have a power plant. It closed down, so I moved back. Started working. Then I met my wife. I want to say I met her in college. She went to A&M. She was a friend of a friend. But we ended up started dating about 12 years ago. We got married actually in 2019, but we have an 8-year old together and a 4-year old, both girls, and I wouldn't have it any other way. That's what
Yeah.
I enjoy them. I mean, they're the best in the world, and my wife's the best. But basically, I'm living now in Round Rock. I would say 2 years ago, I started a roofing company that was working as a project manager in a construction company for about 8 years, and kind of started this roofing thing on the side with a couple of buddies, and they kind of started doing pretty well. So I ended up quitting the construction company and just doing roofing full time as of about April. But
Okay.
right now we're
Okay.
living in Round Rock. Like I said, no more kids are in the picture, so we got 2 kids, and we're loving life. I mean, it's great right now.
That's great, man. Do you have you gotten back to Columbia, or do you ever get up this way much to see a game, or keep in touch with the program?
So typically, I make one game. I try my very best to make a Mizzou game in person every year. Some years we haven't been able to. Like I said, since my wife went to A&M, it's been easy when we play A&M to sell that to her to go to those
Right.
games. Last year we went to A&M
I was
for
going to
that
say, I hope
game.
you were not at the one last year, man. That
I
was rough.
was. It was very hot. It was disappointing, but man, I was proud of the way the team bounced back after that game.
Yeah.
We ended up finishing pretty strong, and but yeah, we went to that game. I was in the middle of A&M fans, so I was getting grief the entire time. But yeah, typically we come up to one game. We try to a year. I'm trying to think. We were planning to come up for the A&M game this year, but my sister is having a ring dunk. She's graduating from A&M, so I'm not 100% sure we're going to make it. But I'd love to come up there, check out the new renovations, bring the kids, and let them
Yeah.
experience the Mizzou atmosphere a little bit.
Yeah. No, when you came up here, it's crazy. We were talking beforehand that it's been, 22 years or whatever since you moved to Columbia, but you come here out of Texas. Did you know did you know anything about MUKU? Did you even know that was really a thing growing up?
I did not. The first game I probably watched knowing that I was watching them and paying attention was when Mizzou played Arkansas at the Independence Bowl. I believe
Mhm.
that would have been 2003. It was
Yeah.
in, and that was probably the first game that I really kept up. with it. And when I got up here, even on the recruiting trip, there was Kansas. The people were talking about the Kansas game and everything. And so I started kind of understanding at that point that this was a big deal. It was Kansas, Nebraska, all these teams that typically as a Texas kid you don't really pay much attention to. But now, going to Mizzou, it became pretty evident that they were a big deal.
Right. And that 2007 season, different guys have had different answers, but like when during that year did you kind of start to think, hey man, we're not like we're really good. We're at a different level than people understand.
I would say after the Sun Bowl, the year before, just going into that off season. So right after that, you hit winter conditioning, and seeing the mindset was shifting. We were coming from not making a bowl game my true freshman year to a Independence Bowl my freshman redshirt year, and then the Sun Bowl. And gradually you could see the leadership, the mindset of the team changing. You're starting to get guys that originally weren't a part of that. The Coach Pinkel kind of recruiting, because he came in what 2001.
2001 was his first year. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of those guys had been there and weren't recruited by him. And also, the first few years when you get into a major school, you're not getting exactly guys. You're kind of getting what you can get, and nothing against the guys there, but the mindset was a lot different. And after that Sun Bowl, the leadership, the older guys, the 03 guys, that's what I call them because they graduated in 2003. I graduated in 04. So the 03 guys stepped up in the off season, in the winter conditioning. There was no belly aching. There was no problem. Everybody was there 5:30 in the morning ready to work. It was the accountability that we all held with each other was pretty high. So I would say during that off season, I realized we had something special going in, and you start to see the caliber of players we had around that time. You're playing against all these good teams your freshman and sophomore year, and you're like, oh man, these positions and stuff, we don't have anybody to match that. And then you get into that offseason, you see these guys working, you're like, this guy can match up. If not, he's better than these other guys. And I think that's when I knew. And then once you hit summer conditioning, we're all busting it there. Everybody's on the same page. Nobody was missing workouts. Nobody was missing conditioning. Everybody was locked in, and it trickled down from the coaches down to the players, and it was just evident from the get-go. So I would say after the Sun Bowl, we could.
There you go. Yeah, and I remember being at that, and that was a really tough loss for you guys. Kind of right toward the end, just a ton of things went wrong, and it kind of felt like it almost fueled you guys into that next offseason. But when I was talking to Lorenzo, the weird thing about the Big 12 back then was like, I know everybody always pays attention to offense, right? Like that's fans. The offense always gets the. But man, the offenses in that league at that time were insane. And so Lorenzo was telling me, like in fall camp, you guys thought you were pretty good, but facing that offense every day in practice, it was kind of hard to tell because you guys had an offense that was just, it was really hard to stop even day to day in practice.
It was. Everybody was switching to the spread. Then everybody was throwing it as far as they could, as much as they could. So the conditioning was there, and you would get it in practice. But I mean, it's hard to match up against the Coffin, the Rutgers. Come on, like our linebackers ain't gonna run with those guys. Us defensive ends were not gonna get close to running with them. We could take them in a run block. They're not gonna run block us. Right. But in practice and stuff, we would be best if we're dropping in zone and they were just throwing a bad pass or something. We weren't going to cover those guys. So, I would say on offense, it was pretty tough. But that year, every offense we went against pretty much was a high-powered offense. I mean, between, Texas Tech was slinging the ball, Oklahoma State slinging the ball. Everybody was slinging the ball. And even OU, who predominantly was a running team. I mean, you had Adrian Peterson the few years before, and they were throwing the ball with Sam
Bradford. Yeah.
Sam Bradford. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was throwing the ball so much. So that's it definitely got us in, since everybody was switching to that offensive style. It helped us prepare a lot better in the fall camp.
And obviously your guys' defense ended up being really good that year. But, man, I was thinking about this. So you weren't the most heavily recruited guy out of high school. Sean Weatherspoon was not all that. He was going to Houston till Missouri found him. Lorenzo was like a 230-pound linebacker when he got here.
Yeah.
Ziggy wasn't really recruited all that heavily. Like, what was it about that coaching staff and that group that, like, it was all these guys that, frankly, a lot of people overlooked. They came together to make that team.
I think a lot of it is a confidence thing. A lot of us, like you said, weren't recruited heavily. I was originally going to go to U of H as well, coming out of high school. But when you go to a school, a Big 12 school that offers you, and the coaches believe in you, the string coaches believe in you, and you're constantly getting fed a positive image of yourself, and that you can be great. We'll give you the tools. It's up to you to finish the process. And a lot of us didn't have that. We came from small schools. Sean Weatherspoon's school is a 3A school, just like mine. Lorenzo's school was a larger school, but it was, he, like you said, he wasn't highly recruited. Neither was Ziggy. So we were guys that probably didn't get those pats on the back as much outside of our communities. And when we're going to, we're seeing all these role models with the coaches and stuff who have played. A lot of them have played, and a lot of them had coached in big games, and they're believing in us. It starts changing your mindset to believe in yourself. Like, hey, you know what? I am pretty good. I am good. They believe in me. I believe in myself as well. And then you start like Ziggy and Spoon coming in, and they're getting gains out the wazoo as soon as they're there. I remember, like, I want to say Ziggy when he came in, and I might be exaggerating, but he was maybe 225 pounds, maybe.
Right.
And like the way he stacked on weight and just was so strong, it was unreal. Same thing with Weatherspoon. I think he came in and like hang clean on the first day, like 355, no problem. We're like, what the heck is going on? He hasn't even been through the strength program, and he's already doing this.
Right. I remember one of Spoon's first days on campus, because this was back before social media or any of this existed. Like Rivals and Scout and all that were all that existed. So we had him listed his senior year in high school, like 195 pounds or something. Mm-hmm. And so it's like early on in fall practice, and he sees me walking over that bridge. He goes, "Hey, Gabe, you got to get my Rivals profile fixed, man. I'm 230 now." I'm like, dude, I don't know what to tell you.
Hey, he packed it on quick. But that's the thing. Coming from these smaller schools, we didn't have a strength program. I mean, there was no way. And nowadays they do. I mean, nowadays they have state-of-the-art stuff. They have film and all the other stuff. But, we had a strength program, but it really was focused on the big three, your bench, squats, and deadlifts. And that's basically it. You tested in that. Every workout revolved around those three lifts. And there was nothing really to kind of build mass. You're not getting a meal plan. You're not getting protein shakes and things like that. So it was a lot different. It's a lot easier too whenever you're not focusing on other sports. A lot of us all played multi-sports in high school, and then we get to college and you're focused on football, and that's it. And it's a lot easier to lock in for sure.
Yeah. So that year you and KU were on a collision course all the way. And like, obviously this is your senior year. By the time that week rolls around, I mean, you played 50 college football games, so probably not a lot surprises you, but do you remember anything about that week and specifically thinking like, man, this one's a little bit different than all the ones I've been through before?
Oh, I mean, for sure. We had a chance at that time. We all knew what was on the line. The Big 12 North was on the line, the number one ranking. We had gotten beat, I want to say 3 weeks before or 4 weeks before at OU. And
Right.
that hurt. That hurt more of us than anything. I mean, we had all lost games before in the past, but that felt like we had lost, uh, a huge game, our first game, and it was horrible. But just going into that week, we knew what was on the line. I mean, and it's KU week. I mean, on
Right.
top of all of these things that lined up, the stars aligned, KU week, and the only thing we felt like we were missing was Pig Brown because he had gotten hurt,
Right.
and he was such a huge part of our defense and part of the leadership, the just pushing everybody to work hard and stuff. He still did that when he was hurt, but without him on the field and stuff, a lot of us were thinking about him, during that game and leading up to it, that he should have been a part of that on the field playing with us.
Well, and I just remember like it was maybe the only time Coach Pinkel ever did it. Like Pig was hurt and he was still on the travel roster, so he could be
Yeah.
on the sidelines with you guys. That's how much Coach thought he meant to that team.
Well, he meant so much to the team. Like he was involved in everything. He was a JUCO transfer too, so he didn't come up through, red shirting or anything like that. But as soon as he got in, and he wasn't the biggest guy, he wasn't the fastest. I mean, he was quick, but he wasn't.
Mhm.
I don't think he was blowing doors off running the 40 or anything like
Right.
that. But
Like
he
nobody in the
returned
NFL was
kicks.
ever looking at Pig Brown. That wasn't
Right.
really a thing. Yeah.
And and he was and especially that beginning of that season, well, even leading up to his injury, he was all American
Mhm.
numbers. Like he was to me, one of our best player on defense.
Yeah.
And so it was a little rough leading into that. I'm sorry I got a little off track, but I throw a
No,
little
you're
shout
good.
out to Pig on the
You're good, man. There is always room for Pig Brown praise on
yep.
on this show. So I don't know if you had a chance, playing Texas high school football to ever play in the Cowboy Stadium or anything like that. But was that game in Arrowhead? Was that the first time you'd had a chance to play in an NFL stadium?
Um, no, because my redshirt freshman year, we played at Arrowhead against Arkansas State. It was my very
Okay,
first
so it's
game.
kind of the same, but definitely not
It's
at all
not
the
the
same.
same. No, and I had gone to watch the Chiefs a few times
Mhm.
because I was good friends with Van Alexander and those guys, and they love the Chiefs. So we'd
Right.
go there. But no, pulling into that stadium, we had stayed, I want to say, in Blue Summer, somewhere out on the east side of Kansas City. And when we pulled up to that stadium and it's tents and smoke from all the
Yep.
grills, the
Yep.
lights are on, the fans are rowdy. It was the coolest experience that I knew going. I had never experienced anything like that before. We
Yep.
were all normally we're not allowed to talk or do anything cut up or anything like that before a game on the bus, and we were all just trying to hold it back. We were talking and we were mesmerized by the scene, and Coach Pink will let us enjoy that excitement for sure.
Yeah, you get into the game, and a couple guys have said, "Hey, you guys get up 21-0," and they've said even on the sideline there was a little bit of like, "All right, we're about to be number one." Like it wasn't supposed to be this easy. Like, what do you remember about the start of that game and when you guys were up at that point? It seemed like it was over from the outside.
Well, I never thought that way. And to be honest,
Yeah,
I would have wanted to run up 50 points. Like to me, it wasn't
right.
being up 21 wasn't enough. And like I said, we had lost a few weeks before, and I wanted to erase any doubt that we uh, did not belong with the big dogs in the NCAA. Like we were, to me, the best team in the NCAA that year. We
Mm.
uh, we worked for it. We had the players for it. And so when I saw 20, when I felt the 21 and up, the crowd was still in it. It wasn't like
Yeah.
the KU fans were dead or the Mizzou fans were dead and, just sitting back watching the game. It was still 100% the entire game. So it felt like going out there even after at 21-0, it still felt like the game was 0-0 to us for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously they come back, make a game of it, and then, the ball's on the 3-yard line, right? And Lorenzo told me his version of changing the play and
No,
all
and
that. So I
I'll
want to know your
never,
version of this.
no, and it's all on tape. And all year he had stolen things from me. He's stolen sacks. He stole forced fumbles. He had been, and I'm going to shoot him a call about this because I will die by this. He knocked me off of that sack. I touched Todd first, and then he comes in and goes right in between us and knocks me off of it. But whatever, we got the safety. It's going to be an iconic moment in Mizzou history for a very long time, and it was awesome to have all of the defensive line there to be able to celebrate it, and that was a very cool thing because we were such a close front four, and for all of us to kind of end a regular season in that fashion was a pretty cool deal to be a part of. And there's pictures of all four of us right there, and it's pretty neat to see that.
Right. And like I literally, until I looked in the box score earlier this week, because all I remember about that play is I have no idea who got the sack because half the defense was standing around him in the end zone. It was unbelievable.
Well, it was an easy, and I'll tell you that was the easiest. Once you get a team that's down, they're going to throw the ball. Collins, who the tackle I was going against, before the game or during the game, he had tweaked his MCL or something like that. He had or his meniscus, I believe, or something like that was going on with his knee. So it was easy to speed rush him. He wasn't able to kick back as fast. So that was just something we saw. I want to say it was in game in film watching, but we kind of in the game it became pretty evident that he was having some knee issues. So that down, it was a third down, I believe, and or maybe it was a second down, but they had a pretty good ways to go. They had to throw the ball, and the safety line was only so deep on the end zone, so he had to be in a certain area. So we all knew where we had to meet up, and that was the easiest thing for me was a speed rush because it was about 7 yards back.
Yeah. So everybody's kind of had a different story of like whatever moment they remember from after the game, whether it's on the field celebrating, whether it's on the way home or when you got back. Like, what most sticks in your mind about kind of the aftermath of that game?
Honestly, just going back to all four of us being there. That's what sticks. I remember it. I remember jumping up and all of us being there and then hugging each other and we knew the game was over. At that point, it was done. And just knowing that we were a part of something that Mizzou might not have accomplished at that point in time, getting the number one ranking. We knew we were going to be number one. Being there all together, right there in the end zone after the biggest game of every single one on that field's life. And knowing that all eyes were on us, but we were all still together, and we came back together to finish that season off. Maybe not the best way with losing Oklahoma the following 2 weeks later, but I do remember just hugging each other and being there right there in the end zone together.
Yeah, I got to know, man, because you said earlier you thought you were the best team in the country that year. If Pig and Kaufman are healthy for that Oklahoma game, do you think it goes different?
Absolutely. We started getting a little bit of some fits going in the getting beat deep sometimes, and some that's a lot of on the D line and things like that. And with Pig back there and the way he was able to cover the field and cover players, that dude had a nose for the ball. That first game of the season against Illinois, he picked a fumble up, and I think he ran it 99 yards or something like that. And absolutely, if we would have had Pig Brown, 100%, I believe I believe the first game would have went different. While we were playing them, when he got hurt, we would have definitely had a different game because that's kind of the turning point to me of that first game against them. But having him and Copeland, and I mean, there were no two better tight ends in the NCAA at that time. I mean, they're both 6'6", 250 pounds plus that could catch anything thrown close to them.
Yeah.
And they don't get tackled. The first guy that hit them would never bring them down.
Yeah. And they were just huge wide receivers, honestly, the way they played.
Yeah.
So I've been finishing guys up with kind of the same two questions here. First off, and you talked about it a little bit, but even, we're 18 years past that game, and we've been talking to guys about it all week. And the way Coach Pinkel put it, he said, look, they might play games that big, but they're never going to play games bigger, right? Like, what does it mean to you guys this far down the road, even, that you were a part of the biggest thing that's ever happened in this program?
It is cool, but I do want the future players to experience it. And I think they deserve to experience it. I think it's awesome. Living in Texas, a lot of people don't understand it as much as probably somebody from the Midwest. Talking to, even at work and things like that. They're like, oh, y'all were good that year. You were a junior, y'all were good that year. And I'm like, yeah, we were pretty good. And, but I would love to see the younger guys experience that. Like, I would love to see the team this year experience something like that, or the team next year. And that's what makes you excited as a fan now, as an ex-player, knowing that we helped build that legacy to Mizzou, to get to play in those big games and get to, be on TV every week and have millions tune in. And so I would love to be able to watch that on TV as a fan and be excited for those guys. I know it's a different time with NIL, and a lot of the guys haven't come up the 4 years through a program and get to know everything, but it's still, they all sweat and bleed for the team typically that they're on. So it'd be really cool to see it.
All right. And then last thing, man, 2:30 Saturday when MU and KU, first time in Columbia since you were a junior in college, right? Like, you were in the last MU-KU game that was here. I know a lot of you guys have kind of talked to each other about being excited this thing's coming back. Just how much does it mean? How excited are all of you guys to have this thing being played again, even if it's a little bit different than it used to be?
We're all excited. We're all shooting texts back and forth this week. I say we stayed pretty in touch with a lot of the guys I played with, but I could do better. But we're all shooting texts this week, and it could be things that were funny that happened that weren't even a part of the game, or were a part of the game but weren't the best thing that happened in the game. But we're ribbing each other and stuff. It kind of brings in everybody to contact each other more, that we getting excited because we're getting to talk about it. And, we're Thursday, we're only 2 days in my book away from, kickoff. So everybody's excited. I know during the game, we're all going to be blowing up each other's phones if you're not at the game, because you're not going to get service.
You're right. 100%. They do say the Wi-Fi is better now, but we'll see how it goes.
If I make it up there and against A&M, if the Wi-Fi is better. I'm hoping. I'm not looking ahead, but man, if I'm up there, I'd love to get my family back for that game last
year. For sure, man. Stryker, I appreciate the time, man. It's been great to catch up. Like I said, I think it's probably been 18 years. So It's great to see you doing well, and appreciate your time, man.
Oh no, thank you, and go Tigers.
All right. Have a good one, man. Stryker Sulak, former Mizzou defensive end, joining us on the show today. And tomorrow, Gary Pinkel. Stryker's the last player we're going to have this week. Gary Pinkel conversation airs tomorrow to wrap up the Border War Week. Appreciate all you guys watching all week long. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things that help us get it in front of more people. And 48 hours about from now, when you guys are watching this, or at least when it first goes on the channel, MU-KU. So one more time, shout out and thanks to all the people who have been a part of this all week. Dave Matter and Denario, Tony Tipple, Lorenzo Williams, Stryker. It's been a fun time to kind of go back and connect with guys that, sometimes I've kept in touch with a little bit. Obviously, I see Dave, multiple times a week. I haven't talked to Stryker since he was a senior in college, maybe since after that MUKU game, to be quite honest, was the last time. But it's fun to go back to that shared experience, and obviously their role in it way different than my role, but something we were all at, and still 18 years later now have a reason to look back on, and look forward to a version of it coming back on Saturday. It's not the same thing. It's never going to be that. But obviously, MUKU playing again is a good excuse to kind of walk down memory lane with some of these guys. And I think one thing that I hope you guys take from it is how much it absolutely meant to all the people that were involved in it, how much it still means to them 18 years later. And honestly, how much Saturday's going to mean to him, because I think that's been obvious all week too. So plenty of stuff going on still over on the site. A lot of stuff on the channel. I think this is the third show we've had today. Talked to Michael Swain from 24/7 from FogNet, covers KU for us. Had a show with him earlier today. PM in the AM. I'll make my pick tomorrow morning. And again, Gary Pinkel interview going to come tomorrow. I know a lot of people looking forward to that one. So make sure to check it all out. Thanks a lot, guys.